Hello everyone. This video is to communicate to you about my expectation to your project assignment. Now in this business analytics class, the goal is that not to teach you the basic concept of statistic or the use of Excel or some other tools. Instead, the overall goal is that we need to be able to apply all the skill, all the courses that you have taken relating to data analytics or any mathematics that oriented courses to business oriented problem solving. So the whole goal or objective is to make sure that you can integrate all the skill together to present a problem solving sort of story. So that is the expectation, the overall expectation for the project. In particular, for this particular semester, I have list five, one, two, three, four, five different objectives here. And you can read about this five objective from your assignment description. And if you examine all these requirements, basically those are the individual tasks that you have already performed in each one of your assignment over the semester, at least before right after the second exam, that you have all been through the assignment, working on the Google Map, working on the chart, working on pivot table, and some exposure to SPSS, more statistic oriented analysis. Just something ties to our textbook discussion. The main reason of using SPS is to introduce correlation analysis as well as regression analysis. Those two analysis methods are actually the portion that we consider as predictive analytics. And the assignment before the SPSS, Google chart, Google pivot chart, and some of the traditional pie chart, bar chart building, and share them with a Google Slides or document are the focus of descriptive analytics. So that actually served very well to two-thirds of the topic that we cover from the textbook. So that is the design of this particular project. Now, the requirement of the project is not to be really extensive, but instead, I would like you to use all the things that you have learned from the assignment, technical tutorial in particular, for this particular project. So basically, you want to find how you can use those technical skill. Hopefully, you find those very easy because nowadays the tool used to build those charts are relatively easy to use already. And from the grading of your individual assignment, I found that it is not a problem for most of you. So use those tools, but this time around you have to come up with the right variable and right visualization from your perspective by examining the business problem. Now, the business problem we're looking at here is the data set that I copied or downloaded from a student competition from 2018 that is coming out of the AI student chapter competition, which is one of the organizations that MIS, most of the academics, including your professor, is actually a part of it. So they have a competition every year. And for those of you who are not going to be graduating in a year or so, the upcoming usually they will have a competition in the spring semester. So in the upcoming January or end of the fall semester, when you're going back to the Thanksgiving, usually the competition will be announced. So if you're interested in that, please contact your professor. Which means me. I'll be very happy to guide you through the process. Hopefully, you can win something, put on your resume, and that'll be great. And I'll also put out a call for participant when the time is come, if you're on campus. All right, so let's talk about this particular competition and data set. And this is a NBC, of course, the TV channel. They have this data set for best-selling movie, online watching movie, and well, actually not online watching. I'm sorry. It's actually a data set that providing the uh, box office sale for the movie for all the movie where it's a movie around the world. So you see movie coming from various countries as well. And looking at, and the reason I put this up here is because we have an assignment using the Oscar winner as a data set for analysis. I found that's kind of relevant, so we are using similar data set. So the goal is that we want to understand, well, the overall goal for the competition was that NBC want to know what kind of movie is most likely to be a best-selling movie, right? So it could be the genre that you're providing, it could be the actors, it could be the award they win. Regardless of whatever the reason, there may be a combination of all these possibility. So what I'm looking at here is that you need to go through the process of looking at the data set to see what kind of data set you can make a story about and start to and collect or analyze the right column in your data set, and then use those column and try to relate. It could be a categorical variable, it could be a numerical variable, but use those variable, try to relate to the box office sale. So in this case, you see that there will be a column called box office growth, talking about the box office number for each movie. And so it'll be interesting analysis and try to figure out. The data set is not huge, but it is represent as a significant size. So it does require some of the technology support. So in other words, using Excel may not be sufficient to analyze this particular data set. I'm hoping that you can utilize SPSS more in particular in the analysis part. So there are some basic requirement, and you can read about all these requirements. But basically, that if you can impress the judges, which in this case will be me, but of course in the competition it will be a panel of professors and practitioners that actually are looking at the presentation to see who can build the best model to predict sort of the formula for best-selling best-selling movie. All right. So, but again, if you cannot find any significant result, that is fine. And let me share with you some of the example that the student from fall 2019 they have done. And for example, that you can use SPSS to generate that this particular this is a correlation analysis with the chart that is showing up, and you learn this from your technical tutorial as well. So you do some analysis and try to explain what's going on. Say for example, in this case, that you have a correlation of 0.037 or 0.247 from the budget to the box office growth. That seems to be, well, not very high in both number, and but of course in terms of significance, both of them are significant. So what does that represent? It probably says that the budget and in this case the other variable is release date are not very good predictors for box office growth. So a challenge for you is can you find something better? Try to relate them, and so you can find that relationship among them. And you want to present your analysis in, I mean, the ideal format is that you share your presentation in a shareable Google slide format. Yes, you can of course build this in a Microsoft PowerPoint, but the goal in today's environment is that you need to be able to share the information with the audience you want to deliver the analysis. So use I mean, Google Slide will be a good idea, which is we learned in our technical tutorial. And if you can use voice over the slide, it will be even better, right? So it's up to you. But the basic format is that you present all these analysis you have done and discuss the finding. And this is one example. This student did not get the highest score, but I expect a little bit more on a discussion about what you find in using all these correlation, or in this example, this student used more pivot chart actually. Well, actually, yeah, pivot chart analysis. This is the pivot chart analysis from Google's spreadsheet, and he tried to study the correlation, or the this is actually a reverse Pearson, well, not Pearson, sorry, normal the normal distribution, and you're looking at the long tail. So the longer the movie is released, the lower the box office. This actually fits through the general observation of nature phenomena, social phenomena. So you might want to use all these tools and study a few different variables from a given set. So with that saying, the most important challenge is that among all these columns you see in the given data set, and try to make sense out of it. And even though that you will find a lot of variables are something what we call categorical variable, we do not have a very good technical tutorial for now for to help you understand how to use a categorical variable. But for those of you who are want to study a little more and try to impress your professor, one of the technique you might want to use is called ANOVA, ANOVA, and that is something we use a lot in analyzing categorical variable, how that impact the numerical measurement that we usually use, right? So you see the format, and it will be a good idea to share with the tools, and if you can use a shareable link that include in your submission, that will be great. If not, make sure you make a screenshot and share that with us using a Google slideshow. And during the sharing process, you can share it to the public, or you can share directly to your professor, right? So that will be, if you feel like you don't want other people to see what you're doing, and of course your professor will not reveal or publicize your shareable document to other people, but you might just as well and try to see if you can fine tune a sharing feature so that in a true working environment you can target and make sure that your information is not misused, or your privacy is not released. And as a matter of fact, a lot of organization, in many organizations, a good analysis report is actually a trade secret. It's one of the things that you do not want your competitor to know, so you can target your market even better, right? So with that saying, that let's do this. It will be an individual work, and it's doable, and the length of the document does not need to be long. As you can probably see, this student from last semester, he only has 9 slides. I expect a little bit more explanation about the result, but even this one will get you roughly A minus score on the project. With other assignment you get A, you may be able to get a better score. But if you lack all these important component that we have used already in the assignment, your score will be lower than a B, and that is basic. So summarize and conclude what I'm saying. I want you to use all the technical tutorial that you have learned in your assignments from this semester. Add a little bit more your own research and interpretation on the result you'll be getting. And of course, during the process, you might you may just need to study a little bit more of the original data set. And the more you understand the data set, the more you think about what could be happening in the movie industry. And assuming you are a studio producer, that how do you make sure the movie you're going to be making become a top hit, at least making money, right? So that is the challenge to you, and it was a challenge for the school participating in the AIS student competition around the country, around the United States. So you're in par with other university. You can do this. You're more competitive than many other students already. All right, good luck, and I wish to see some good project coming out of this short assignment. Thank you.